I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with Samuel L. Jackson, who plays the title role in The Last Days of Ptolemy Grey. Now, Ptolemy is a man with dementia who tries an experimental treatment to get his memories back. And I know you had been wanting to get this project made for several years. What made this story so important to you?
Well, aside from the fact, it was just a wonderful story when I read it. I was taken by it and the character inside it because, my grandfather, my mom, her brother, her sister, a lot of people in my family who were afflicted with Alzheimer's and dementia. So not helping me to understand them, but to know that, everybody wants to know that they're not the only one. I mean, we tend to think that we're the only people suffering with a particular thing when it happens to us, and to know that someone else, especially a person like Walter, has been through it and has written about it and written a very compassionate story about it, compel me to want to portray this character, to explore those emotions, to explore what it means to have had a full life and not remember what that life was. I was just driven to try and bring this character to everyone's attention.
And what was it about Walter Mosley's writing about this subject in particular, and this book that drew you in?
There were a lot of different elements there. The fact that he could write so eloquently about this man and his mind, or lack of having that mind, or the things that he remembered most, which resonated with me because I could talk to my mom about things and she could talk to me about things that happened 50 years ago, but not what happened that morning. The family aspects of it, in terms of families forgetting about you or tossing you away because you're not of any use to them anymore, and somebody else coming along and finding you and having the compassion to engage you and treat you like you were of value, or polish you off, and all of a sudden you're worthwhile with that thing. Or the fact that everyone who is connected to you that becomes family is not necessarily born into your family, that people connect to you in different ways, or in various ways, or come to love you and give you the care you need because they're just a caring person. Or exploring that young lady's not necessarily need to take care of someone, but her ability to do so, even at a young age, and understand and be compassionate with this man that she bumped heads with a lot of times, but she was learning and he learned, that gave him an opportunity to try this experimental drug, and the fantasy aspect of that drug actually working for a moment, to have a fantastical element come into this tragic real life story and give it this fantasy aspect of him being able to grasp his life and go back and find out what task he had that he needed to fulfill before he could be satisfied with what his life was going to be.
I can imagine one of the challenges of, as an actor, playing a character who's like getting into his mindset when his mind is kind of, he's losing a lot of the memories and the experiences that made him who he is. Like, is that especially challenging for an actor to try and, get into that experience, get your mind around it?
It's hard for me to answer that in like a short span, because I had 10 years to figure it out. I've been trying to get it done for a long time. So I've given it a lot of thought. And there were times when I gave up on the project in a way, but it never went away. So I would just go back and read the book. I read the book like once or twice a year for the last 10 years. And it stayed fresh. And I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how I wanted to approach it. I'd spoken to my makeup artist and my hairdresser about, this character for a very long time. So by the time it happened, they were ready to do the things they needed to do so I could look in the mirror and see who Ptolemy was. And a lot of times that's the trigger mechanism that kicks everything in, that once I can see the character sitting across from me, then a lot of things come to me about who he is, how he walks, what his posture is, what he likes to eat, what he does and does not remember according to what's in the book, and how he remembers it, or his train of thought, and what all those things are, and having a very having an interestingly rural background myself, through my grandfather's brothers and sister, and spending a lot of time on a farm in Georgia in my youth. It gave me an opportunity to explore some of those things and the aspects of who those people were, and the kind of wisdom and knowledge and love that they showered upon me when I was with them.
And you mentioned the hair and makeup and wardrobe. They're also very distinct and specific to this man, and even the production design, set decoration, showing us the space that he lives in. What were the ways where that helped you key into the character? Like what was it about that look that kind of helped you inhabit him?
Well, I said, the visual triggers of seeing yourself as a character that you thought about for a long time, the clothes that he wore, and when and where he got them, the memories that those things bring with him, the kind of walking suits he wore when he kind of got his facility back, the things that he had in his closet that didn't fit him anymore, that were still his, that he could inhabit with the sense of being who he was, or how he felt when he wore those clothes as a younger man, being in that space and seeing all the things that he'd acquired, and viewing them as treasures when Robin came, and the things that she was throwing away, that decluttered his life, that allowed him to declutter himself as she did that. Him being able to see her as his first bird of spring, and to understand that this young lady was in his life for a reason, and being able to share his wisdom with her, but still being able to learn from her about how the world had changed and what was going on in her life. Being able to go to his grandniece's house and see photographs of, her or his sister, and having their pictures on his wall so he would know who they were, the same way Reggie had done that. And Reggie being the only connection between him and those people for God only knows how many years. And having that one connection to his family that allowed him to remember who they were enough that he could connect to them in some way by the time he was clear.
And the relationship between Ptolemy and Robin is such an important part of the series, and the chemistry between you and Dominique Fishback, who from what I've heard, you handpicked her, you saw her, and you said that's Robin. What was it about her that that you felt was so right for the role, and how did your rapport develop during the filming?
It's hard to say how one particular thing made it happen, but I realized watching her in that Jamie Foxx movie that she had this specific energy that I felt Robin needed. I mean, I didn't see that in Judas because she was an older character in a sense, or a more mature character in terms of who she was and what her goal was in that particular movie. But in this movie, she was this young person, and I went back and watched some of the things in The Deuce, and also looked at this thing that she had done with my wife, Show Me a Hero, and remembered, oh yeah, the youthful exuberance, the determination. She has a strength that comes through all the characters that she plays. There's not like a weakness, or she hadn't been asked to portray a particular kind of character that doesn't have a strong spine yet. She has her down moments, but she always bounces back. She's a fighter. And that's what Robin is. And Ptolemy needed an advocate, especially people, older people who are sick always need an advocate. So when you go to a doctor, like I'm old, so when I go to a doctor, I always take somebody with me. So she's that advocate. she advocates for him in every way, you know, in her relationships with the doctors, in his relationships with Nisi and Hilly, his own relatives, or in her relationship with the young man that she's with. She still advocates for him because she's saying, you know, the love that she has for him is something she's never known and she's never experienced. And occasionally, I mean, I'm one of those actors that reads things about what, you know, the things that I'm doing. So when I was looking at Twitter sometimes and reading, you know, the comments that people have, one of the comments they have was people were like a little bit worried sometimes about her relationship with him, but it was a matter of her not understanding hormonally what was going on in her body. So when she says, you know, if I was so-and-so younger and you were so-and-so older, we would be together, you know, she's just confusing something that she just can't, you know, explain right now. You know, but having Dominique come in with a specific idea of who Robin was and what she wanted to do was great, because it prevented me from not wasting, but using energy that I needed to make Ptolemy real, helping her figure out who Robin was, because she did. And she had the right energy and she was receptive enough to play off the things that I gave her. And hopefully I was receptive enough to play off of the things that she brought to me when we were together in those particular scenes.
You know, this is a character study, but there are also these intense moments where you know, Ptolemy is in physical distress, you know, mental distress. Was this a very physically demanding role at you know, especially at those times?
I didn't find it that way. I'm in pretty good shape. You know, I work out and do Pilates and do all kinds of things. So I'm ready to do the physical aspects of most jobs, and the emotional burden of going into those spaces is not something that I carry around. You know, I have a plan, and I have a plan of executing what needs to be executed when that time comes. So when they say action, I can do it, but when they say cut, I can talk to my agent, you know, about the next job if I have to.
And you know, what do you hope that viewers who watch you know, Ptolemy Grey take away from it, you know, just in terms of you know, maybe the people in their lives who are experiencing memory loss, dementia?
I think that's, you know, a byproduct of what the story is. I hope that first of all, that people watch it and they're entertained, that they come to a story as in, once upon a time, this thing happened and this is how it played out, that they can take the ride, that they can experience who Ptolemy is, what his plight is, be joyful and glad when Robin shows up and kind of fixes his life, take the ride with his family, and everybody knows what, you know, family problems are, especially when money's involved, how that happens. The mystery, you know, a lot of times people were talking about playing up the mystery. I was like, but I mean, I kind of think everybody knows who did it by the time, you know, we get to episode 2. Everybody knows who did it. So it's not a mystery, but it's, you know, it's good to be right sometimes, you know, and people can see and go, that's who did it. And then when they say, I knew it, and they can feel good about that. But also to understand or to watch it and know that on the inside of these people that are lost, there's a person that wasn't always lost. And that could be a person in there that prepared food for you, that hugged you or had a kind word for you at some particular point in their lives, that cheered you on, that was a beloved relative of one of your beloved relatives. But know that there's a person in there that is connected to you in some way that you need to revere, and give them the reassurance that, you know, they're not worthless, that they're, you know, wanted and valued, and that you appreciate the gifts that they gave you.
Now, my website, Gold Derby, is all about awards. So, and you just received an honorary Oscar this year. So I just wanted to ask you about, you know, what that meant to you and how that makes you think about, you know, kind of your body of work up to this point.
It was good to receive it. It was an honor that speaks to the thing that I've been taught my whole life. You go out and you work hard, and you hope for the best. And I've tried to be the best Sam Jackson I could be. I got up, I went to work. When I was doing theater, I went to work every day. Or when I was, doing this, I'm always trying to find my next job. And the one thing I've always wanted to be from the time that I first imagined that I could get on screen was to be an entertainer or a storyteller, to make sure that people that came to see me left and wanted to do what I wanted to do every time I left the movies, go home and pretend to be me or pretend to be a character that they saw on screen, or repeat something they said because they enjoyed it so much, and that I took them out of the mundane of their lives and gave them something exciting and fun to go home and think about.
And that reminded me of a few years ago when you were presenting at the Oscars, and you were able to actually present Spike Lee his screenplay Oscar for Black Klansman.
When he almost killed me jumping on me. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could really sense your joy at being able to present him with that. So you've been on both sides of that kind of award.
But that was my second time. I actually gave him his governor's award too.
Yeah, is it better to give or to receive? Like which one is gives you that satisfaction?
I had great joy at my governor's award presentation. It was wonderful. I think it's sort of a shame that they didn't get to celebrate things like that at the Oscar ceremony this year, that they didn't have clips from that, from me, Liv, Danny, from all of us receiving our awards, because it was a great night and it was a joyous night. And it's the kind of event where you see people who have contributed something long-term and not just, in 1 year. Because by the end of, folks will always know that, Will won the award, but most years you can't tell from 1 year to the next, well, who won Best Actor last year? But things like that are long-lasting, and they're tributes to a career well-lived and well deserved, those awards. But you can see, look, my Oscar's sitting over here on the top of my desk. Among a whole bunch of low characters of myself.
I agree with you that I really wish the Oscars would bring back those awards to the telecast itself, because it's such a powerful moment that you get with people who have contributed so much to film over the years, like yourself. So hopefully they'll do that in future years. Fingers crossed. Yeah. I want to congratulate you on Ptolemy Grey, a really incredible series on Apple TV Plus. I hope everyone seeks it out. And thank you so much for talking to you today. It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Come to the play in fall.
Will do.